A startup in San Francisco just started renting out humanoid robots that walk into your house and clean it for $30 an hour. The robot they're using is a Chinese-built Unitree G1, the same company behind the robot dog that went viral last month. And there's a human being sitting in a control room driving it around your kitchen. 4 news stations filmed the launch, and not one of them asked the question that actually matters here. Home robotics just crossed a line nobody was really watching. So let's talk about it. Alright, so the company is called Tao Robotics. They're based in San Francisco, founded and run by a guy named Alex Koch. And on July 29th, they announced something that sounds like it's still 5 years away. You get on a wait list, they show up, and a humanoid robot cleans your home, vacuuming, taking out the trash, wiping down your kitchen counter. $30 an hour. A BC7 in San Francisco went out and filmed it, and the footage is genuinely strange to watch. A van pulls up on a normal residential street, the side door slides open, and this 4'3" humanoid steps out onto the pavement, walks up the path, and lets itself into somebody's home. No lab, no showroom, no stage. Just a robot on a street where people live. And the price is the part that got all the headlines. $30 an hour is not futuristic pricing. That's less than a lot of people pay for a human cleaner right now, which is exactly why it deserves a much closer look than it got. So the first thing worth knowing is that Tao didn't build this robot. That machine is a Unitree G1. It's Chinese made. It stands about 4'3", which is roughly 1.3 meters, and it weighs around 77 pounds, so about 35 kilograms. Depending on how it's configured, it's got somewhere between 23 and 43 degrees of freedom in its joints. Off the shelf, it costs around $13,500. Tao has modified it, and the modification tells you a lot. The head is covered in antennas. That's not for sensing anything. That's bandwidth. You need a serious amount of radio to stream a live control feed out of somebody's apartment in real time without lag, because if that feed stutters, the robot stops mid-motion in a stranger's kitchen, and if the name Unitree sounds familiar, it should. This is the same company that makes the robot dog, the one that went viral about 11 days ago. The clip NBC posted that's now sitting at over 1 million views. Same manufacturer, different machine. So an American home robotics startup is running its entire service on Chinese hardware. Hold on to that one, because in a few minutes, it turns into the strangest part of this whole story. Now here's the detail that got about 9 seconds of airtime, and honestly it deserved the entire segment. Here's Koch describing how the service actually works in his own words. Quote, "A person operates the robot from a central location with assistance from AI." Read that one more time. A person operates the robot. This isn't an autonomous robot with a human supervisor watching from a distance. It's not mostly self-driving with occasional help. There's a human being sitting at a desk in San Francisco, piloting a machine around your home, with software helping out on the tricky parts. It's much closer to a very expensive telepresence suit than to a robot in the way most people picture one. And the demo videos the company handed out to the news stations were sped up. That's disclosed, so it's not an accusation, but it does tell you something about how fast this thing actually moves in real time. Now I want to be fair here, because Tao is not hiding any of this. The operators are W-2 employees, based in San Francisco, not anonymous contractors somewhere overseas. The microphones on the robot are disabled. Bedrooms and bathrooms are excluded by default. The data goes to Google Cloud. Compared to basically any smart camera you can buy at a store, that's a more careful policy than most companies bother writing down. But it does mean that when you book this, you're not hiring a robot. You're hiring a person who is standing inside a robot remotely. Which brings us straight to the money, and the money is where this gets interesting. So $30 an hour has to cover 4 things at once. It has to pay a San Francisco salary for the operator. It has to cover the cost of a $13,500 robot spread across however many jobs that robot survives. It has to pay for cloud compute. And it has to pay for a continuous, high-bandwidth, low-latency video uplink running the entire time the robot is inside your home. For comparison, a competing robot cleaning service called Gatsby launched back in May, and they charge $150 flat per visit. In China, a company called X Square Robot is running a similar concept at around $7 a visit, but that's a completely different labor market. Tao is charging $30 an hour in San Francisco, and unlike a human cleaning service, Tao also has to buy the robot. Now I want to be careful with this, because nobody outside the company has seen their books. There's no published funding figure, no valuation, no unit count. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're losing money on every single job like I've read a spreadsheet, because I haven't. What I'll say is this: I cannot put these numbers together in any arrangement where the cleaning pays for itself. And when a price sits that far below what it costs to deliver the thing, that price isn't really a price anymore, it's an acquisition cost. The company is buying something from you, and the discount is what they're paying you with. So the obvious question is, what are they actually buying? Coke has said publicly that general-purpose robots are going to require trillions of trials to learn effectively. Trillions of trials of what, though? Not video, not text, real homes, real clutter on real floors, real crumbs on a real countertop at an angle no simulator would ever think to generate. There's no dataset anywhere in the world of what the inside of 10,000 actual lived-in houses looks like from 4'3" off the ground. And every single hour that a human operator drives that robot through your kitchen, that operator is producing what's called expert demonstration data. In robotics, that is the most valuable and most expensive input there is. Teleoperation is how you generate it. It has always been how you generate it. What's clever, and I mean genuinely clever, is that Tao found a way to get customers to book it, let it in the front door, and pay $30 an hour for the privilege. That's not a scandal, that's a smart business. The part I'd want to read before booking is the retention policy, and Tao publishes it. The footage from your home is kept in their words for as long as we operate, unless you specifically ask for it to be deleted. And then there's this line, which is theirs, not mine. Quote, if footage from your home was already used to train a model, that training has already influenced the model's parameters. That is a company telling you, in writing, up front, that deletion has a limit. You can delete the file. You cannot delete what the model learned from it. Nobody has figured out how to untrain a neural network on one specific customer's living room, because as far as anyone knows publicly, that isn't something you can do yet. And honestly, credit where it's due. Most companies would never have written that sentence down at all. Okay, so now the part that turns this from a business story into something a lot weirder. On July 28th, the FCC added foreign-produced humanoid and quadruped robots to something called the covered list. In plain terms, that blocks new models of Chinese humanoid robots from getting the equipment authorization. You need to legally import them into the United States. Tao launched their service the next day on Chinese humanoids. Now granted, and this is important because a lot of coverage is going to get it wrong, the ruling is not retroactive. It does not ban units that already have authorization. Tao is not running illegal hardware, and I'm not going to suggest they are. But what it does do is far more interesting. It means the supply of the one component that their entire company is built on now has a ceiling on it. Every G1 already inside the country just quietly became a scarcer asset than it was a week ago. And separately from anything the FCC did, there's a published research record on this platform that I think a customer would genuinely want to know about. Back in March 2025, two researchers, Andreas Macris and Kevin Finisterre, disclosed a vulnerability in Unitree's cloud infrastructure, with roughly 2,000 exposed robots documented. Then that September, the same two published something called Unipon, a Bluetooth exploit that granted root-level access, and they described it as wormable, meaning a compromised robot can scan for other Unitree units within range, and compromise those automatically with no user action at all. Unitree acknowledged the vulnerabilities in September 2025, and said it had started addressing them, though I couldn't find a publicly confirmed firmware patch. Also in September 2025, a security firm called Alias Robotics published findings that a stock Unitree G1 was transmitting audio, video, GPS location, and sensor data to servers hosted in China at regular intervals during normal operation, with no notification and no way to opt out. Unitree has stated that it does not collect private or sensitive data without user authorization. And I need to be really precise about this next bit. That research is about the stock G1. Tao's robots are modified, and Tao says its data goes to Google Cloud. There is no evidence that Tao's fleet behaves the way those researchers described, and I'm not saying it does, but it is the platform underneath, and it's the reason the FCC gave. Ken Goldberg has been working in robotics at UC Berkeley for 4 decades. His take on all of this was pretty blunt. Quote, I really think it is too early. I would be very surprised if these could do anything close to a useful job of cleaning a house, and he's probably right about the cleaning, picking objects up off a cluttered floor, reaching under furniture, handling something fragile without crushing it. All of that is still genuinely hard. And the fact that a human is driving doesn't magically fix it, because the robot's hands are still the robot's hands. But I think the cleaning is kind of beside the point. Look at what actually happened here. A company put a Chinese-built humanoid in a van, drove it out to strangers' houses, had employees pilot it through their kitchens, and charged those strangers a fraction of the market rate for the service. Starting the day after the US government restricted the hardware it runs on, that is not a cleaning company that happens to use robots. That's a data collection operation, with a cleaning service bolted onto the front of it, running on a supply chain with a timer on it. And the $30 is the tell. When the price is a fraction of what it costs to deliver, you were never really the customer. You're the training data. Anyway, that's where this one lands. If a humanoid showed up at your door tomorrow and it was $30 an hour, would you let it in? Let me know down in the comments, because I genuinely don't know what I'd do. That's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.